All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? I hope you had a great trading day today. Let me get this tweeted out right quick here. All right. Let's get started. So, hope everybody had a great trading day today. Futures are up right now, a little bit green. So we'll see how that goes through the rest of the evening. Let's take a look at ES and just kind of evaluate its, see where it's at relative to its volumetric levels that we've been tracking. So a lot of consolidation here the last couple days. Let's take a look. Let's go down to the 5. Okay. So volumetric came out this volumetric level here, right? We got one just below here. So 2,900 we know has been a pretty big number right here, and so we have this level as well. So I'm actually going to put a level there so I could track that tomorrow. I'll put the red one there, make that one red. Okay, properties and make that red. Okay, cool. So that'll give us something to look at through the night. All right, so there's the futures right now. Let's take a look at the SPX today. So another choppy day after Fed minute day yesterday. So basically, a lot of narrow range bars over the last couple of days. So as you recall, Friday was a 10.25 range day. So very nice bar, right? Very nice bar, but very low range, right? So range went up a little bit. We had a little bit of a scare a couple days ago. Then finally range back to 10.58, and today we're here at 11. So I mean, these are very, 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 very tight consolidation days. So I was kind of looking today at a pennant here with a potential break. And if you look at the hourly, really interesting here. So it kind of broke through right at the end of the day. So we'll see if we get some follow through on that tomorrow. Also look at the hourly chart here. We're kind of tested the 60-minute cloud and came up off of that as well. So just a nice zone to kind of take a look at, right? So overall, right, we have the the weekly chart is a really narrow range doji, right? I mean, there's like some days that are more than the entire week, right? It's only been 22 points or so. So it's very possible that we're working on a measured move up, right? So we have this couple big weekly bars up, a pause bar. We might get another push to the upside. Or, I mean, who knows? We might see some crazy action tomorrow and actually see an attempt to fill this gap on the weekly, which is a very rare situation like we've been talking about. So so that's that. Let me just double check here, make sure. Yep. So we got everybody. Hey, what's going on, guys? All right. So so let me just kind of go forward here on the daily chart. Okay, where's my other daily chart? One sec. Here. What happened to my? Oh, I know what happened. I switched drawing sets. There's a pitchfork. Oh boy, I think I was clearing up my stuff there. So. All right, well, good stuff. So anyway, but in general, the weekly chart as we've seen, or I'm sorry, the daily chart as we've seen, through 2018, we moved all the way up, double top, back down, right, resistance, right, down, created a new pitchfork here to kind of show this way up, tested the pitchfork here, another quick test, and then back up, right? So we're kind of at this midline right here, so it's very interesting to see which way it's going to go. Is it going to go to all-time highs, maybe test this 3,100 level before coming back down, or is it ready to come back down and retest, kind of like that 2,800 level again, just to see if it gets a little more strength to go to the upside. So, so definitely looking pretty interesting there. So going into Friday tomorrow, so just remember, when you're trading options tomorrow, use your consider using next week's options so you don't get stuck with a being assigned a call or being assigned the stock on one of your trades if it ends up closing in the money, so or expiring in the money. So just be careful of that going into Friday. And we got a couple interesting setups coming in tomorrow too. We've got a double inside day on Facebook and double inside day on AMD, so that should definitely be some interesting stuff. So just a quick look there. Facebook, when I tweet those out, I usually show the kind of the strategy with that, from my Twitter page and a couple of videos on it. But you have your two, here's your mother bar right here, inside bar here. This bar is inside that bar. So if we gap up tomorrow a little bit, it might be worth shorting this to try to reclaim that range. If we gap down, it might be worth going long to reclaim that range. If we're in the middle of it, we'll follow the VWAP and see if we can trade a break to the outsider or a break to the bottom, right? So so pretty interesting stuff there. There's a nice gap below here too. So if Facebook really wants to give it up, right, it can. So so that should be pretty interesting as well. So Basically, for today's technical topic, I kind of wanted to just go over, all week we've been talking about the intricacies and some clever ways to use MACD and RSI to day trade and also to swing trade. Helps look for bottoms, double bottoms. If you use, resistance and support levels within the RSI, right, you can find like interesting points to trade reversals. And so today I just kind of wanted to go over. It's going to look a little bit messy here. In fact, let me actually pull up a different chart. Let me see if I can find a clear 5-minute chart that's over here. Yeah, so this looks pretty good. And so I'm just going to add, so basically what I want to talk about today is just using all three of the main momentum oscillators to your advantage, right? So I call this 3x confirmation, or 3 times confirmation. So what I want to do is I'm going to add RSI. I'm going to add MACD. Okay, and I'm going to add the slow stochastic. Okay. So there they are. And then basically the concept is, so let me I'm really enjoying this RSI at 60/40. So let me go there. Why is that not working? Certainly my numlock is oh, I guess my numlock was odd. Okay, so there we go, 60/40. All right, there we go. See, it is nice to kind of see that those kind of levels. So ultimately, what you kind of want to look for when you're trading all three levels is look for confluence with pivots on all of them at the same time. Okay, so and I think there's a lot of consistency to this. As long as you can catch it, I think in general, you can pick some pretty good areas. But really, what you want to look for is a nice, smooth pattern or a definite turning point in all three at the same time. Okay, and the lower they are, right, and the more kind of round the bottom is, right, the bigger move that you could potentially get. So if we just look here today, if we kind of zoom in, right, where was the big moves today? Okay, so the first one here obviously was was this bar here, and we talk about that in the private Twitter for newsletter subscribers, and we go over the daily pivot levels on SPX, and we look at kind of the significance of where this was. But in the meantime, just kind of looking at it, right? So there's some price action that was going on here, right? We had the on the 5-minute chart, we had a hanging man type pattern. We had a retest right there. Then we had an inside bar, one more hanging man, and then we started to break down. And there's some key levels that are in there that that we share in the private Twitter feed. So here we had this big move down. So right here you can kind of see that the RSI failed at the 60, right? It broke below it. Right, retest it and back down. So we did a video on that this week. Here it was pretty interesting. There's not a lot of confluence here with the MACD. Obviously everything is red, but this is not quite what I'm getting at in this discussion. And then here although you did get a curl over here on the slow stochastic, it was basically just sort of like a dropping point. So it's really hard to use those type of indicators to track this. So this is 100% price action if you were to catch this one and using the levels. So at that point, you kind of want to look for other areas where there's some confluence. So here you've got a nice, kind of bottom right here, except but you still have a declining MACD, right? So it doesn't really start to curl over until here, but by then this move is already done. So that is not really one. The only point today where you had some confluence was towards the end of the day. And so you can see here RSI, you had that going over here. Actually, you almost had an inverted head and shoulders on that. So you had that. Okay, in general, if you look at the MACD, it's a little bit of a stretch, but you see the blue, right, the 9, right? It was a little bit shorter term, so you had a nice, right? That's just your moving average right there. So you had a nice little dip in that. And then finally, the stochastic was pretty compelling, right, because it dropped below, right, the oversold area, and then crossed over. So this is kind of your area, right? So you had MACD crossing over, you had a inverse head and shoulders on the RSI, you had a nice round kind of bottoms on each of them, and then pretty much boom, right, all the way to the end of the day. It was a little bit tricky, right? So 2882, 2889, so not a huge move, but definitely not horrible, right? So in fact, this retest of it was great because you had a bull flag, right, after this nice big bar right here. Bull flag right here to retest, right, that that setup, and then really nice move all the way to the upside. So a lot of potential there if you're a patient, holding through that. So you can kind of catch these things all over the place. It's just something that when you combine it with other tools, and other price tags, that you can use that. So if you're used to trading a particular chart, let's say you like to trade Boeing or something like that. So let's see what Boeing looks like. Let's see if it gave us any 3x trade somewhere. So a little bit here. This would have been a good one. Well, would have been good for a scalp at least. But you can see where the potential is in those. So you had this right, lower RSI right here, lower MACD, nice curl, and then here a bit of a curl here with a gold cross here on that. So with Boeing, you basically could have caught maybe like 363 all the way up to 365. So a nice 2-point move, just kind of combining all three of those dips on that. You can see it kind of happening here as well. You got kind of a dip in the RSI, dip in the MACD, and then a dip in the stochastic. You can kind of see how those are all curling over and all that. And so again, here you had your bull flags. You would have to deal with this nasty bar right there, but you're looking at about somewhere 368 all the way up to 371. So nice 3-point move there. So this is just something that if you're if there's a chart that you enjoy trading, I mean, even look right here. This has actually worked out great. So here you had a RSI, right, overbought with a curl over. MACD, really, really big peak right there with a curl over, and then the stochastic with a really big peak and a curl over. So three all basically in their over, bought scenarios with a curl over, and so if you shorted there, you're 370 down to 366. So a nice 3-point short on that. So hopefully that kind of wraps up to this week's discussion on using MACD and RSI, and we just threw in one more of the stochastic, and we've talked about all these in the past. We got a little bit deeper into them, finding some setups using those indicators to your benefit. And this is just kind of a big wrap up where you can just kind of combine all of them together and just look for some pretty decent moves. So so that's pretty much that. So I mean, here, even this short right here, you would have done it, right, because you didn't really get an overbought curl over there. This was kind of under, right, the zero line, and it kind of curled over. So this wasn't the best indicator to use for that move. But certainly there's other price action theory that's involved there. So hope you find that helpful. At this point, it's time for questions and time for chart requests. So if anybody's any question or chart requests, please feel free to plug those into the chat window here, and we'll get through as many as we can. Hopefully by 10 o'clock, I almost said 12 o'clock, goodness. We'd be here for a while. Although we have done that before. I think we went to 11:45 one night. But we'll go to 10 o'clock so everybody can get a good night's sleep and some rest, so everybody can enjoy their Friday trading, looking for a good lotto or something like that. But just remember, just be careful using tomorrow's expiration, right? So because you don't want to get stuck in those. So just find a good one and trade and be safe. So all right, here we go. So Andrew, what's going on, man? Good to see you. You've been, I hope you had a great, everything going well and all that stuff. So great tweets tonight too. Awesome charts. So appreciate you sharing all that. Nikolai, what's going on, bud? Good to see you. Undetected One, thanks for your working videos. Is your new newsletter mainly focuses on option trading? Yeah, Undetected. So so the newsletter basically is it goes through a couple different things, right? So all my trades are options. So anything I'm going to trade is going to be an option. So if you get the newsletter, you get access to the private Twitter feed, where if I take a trade, off of my ideas that were in the newsletter, it's going to be an option trade, right? And so I talk a lot about that stuff. In the private Twitter, I put some additional educational videos where I talk about how I pick options, right, strike prices and stuff like that. So it's definitely options. A lot of the stuff I look at, though, a lot of times I'll put, if I do a swing trade, I'll put where I would put my stop if it were a common, and so that you can use that as a reference too if you're not a big option trader. So mostly focused on options. But I'd go through a big macro view of the SPX, the Nasdaq, the Dow, and I go through analysis of different stocks, some major news stories that have kind of happened and are transpiring that are interesting. I go through a lot of different stuff, a lot of different type of technical analysis, clouds, Elliott Wave, candlestick charts and everything, and then I come up with some pretty cool comparisons, and usually come up with the trade of the week and some other swing ideas. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Nikolai, what's going on? Okay, so CMG, Lulu, and Baba. Absolutely. So let's take a look at CMG. All right, let me move off of this chart. So this is really cool. I am just going to go back to Just back to RSI. Okay, and let's go here. Wow, I'm over there. Okay, this is the one I meant to adjust. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay. There. Correct cursor. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Boeing's going to be pretty interesting for tomorrow too, by the way. So, so might get some follow through tomorrow as well. I liked how it looked on the Pitchfork. I tweeted this out a little bit earlier. So, okay. So let's take a look. Take a look at CMG first. Okay. CMG. This was such an epic run that I had. Goodness, it's got earnings coming up already, in like basically just a week or so. So epic run. We caught the first pennant break here, which was a pretty decent move. We caught the second pennant break here, took profits. Actually, I don't need that there. Took profits, and then it just kept on running. You gotta love those type of runners right there. So it's been consolidating, kind of in this area. So just keep a look at the highs. If it does break those highs, you might get a push up, maybe to 740 or something like that. But in the meantime, it is starting to look a little bearish. Let's look at the daily. So we had an inside day yesterday, and it took that down. A little bit of consolidation. This was kind of a key reversal bar right here on the daily. Nice topping tail, inside day, and then down. So it might get some follow through if there is some weakness tomorrow. If it does break yesterday's low, it might want to test the midpoint of this range here. Maybe it'll retest like 700 or something like that. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there on CMG. But yeah, huge run up that we had on that one. Lulu, absolutely. This is an Andrew special right here. So Lulu is looking really neat. Lots of consolidation there. You can see where I have this line, right? The dashed line. That is the high of the earnings gap high. Okay, so when Lulu had good earnings, right? It gapped up, and then it hit this ultimate high right here of 171.45. Okay, and so the idea is when you get these big gaps, right, on earnings that you want to try, it's a good place to try to attempt a break. And Lulu is a little bit tricky, but it did attempt to break here. And so what I am liking on this one is this nice consolidation here on the daily. And to me, it looks like we've almost, let me see, high, up almost a double inside day. But we do have a Harami day here, an inside day on Lulu with a Harami because the real candle is within the real candle of the prior one. So this actually always forms a nice triangle. So it looks like we could get a breakout or a breakdown at some point. So this you can kind of trade similarly to the double inside day strategy. Just see where we open tomorrow. If you open in the middle of the range, you might want to use your VWAP as a guide. Just as a place to kind of keep stops and then look for a good setup to push in the direction of the trend tomorrow. Then you might get a little oomph if you get a breakout over today's highs, or you might get a little bit of a drop if it breaks down below today's lows. Oh, clicked this active trader by mistake. So there you go. That's still your level right there that ultimately you want to break to push the highs. And then we'll see if everything gets weak, if it wants to maybe retest like the gap levels down there. So we have that, and then BABA. Let's take a look. Very interesting. I think we've got a gap here, if I'm not 181.96, low 182. Yeah, so there's an open gap here at 181.96. So that is a possibility. It had a great move, right? And if I zoom out here, you'll be able to see the pitchfork. So let me pull that up here for you. So you can kind of see what was happening here. So we have this pitchfork, kind of longer term pitchfork, right? Kind of came back up. It came off of volumetric resistance, back down to the pitchfork, tested it twice, and then back up. And then here it kind of gave a little bit of a flag type pennant behavior, and then it broke. And then it gave us a bull flag right here at the pitchfork median line. And then it broke out, gave us a nice move back up. Now it's retesting that channel again. So retesting it again, so a little double positive. But anyway, so look there. If it does give you a pivot again, it might start working its way back up again. But if it goes back in the channel, then we have maybe some concerns that it might start maybe traveling down this reaction line or something like that. So yeah, hope you find that helpful. Sorry, in this YouTube it jumps around a little bit. So NetFry, what's going on, man? Let's take a look at PFE. So Pfizer. Yeah, looking a little droopy, isn't it? So yeah, so this has been actually still holding up really well in our pitchfork. Came back up, double tested here, back down, right? It kind of came back, pivot, pivot. Oh, it doesn't want to go all the way up this time. So now you've got this little move. So if anything, a potential target here is this kind of 41, 41.50 type level to see how it handles that pitchfork, and then it might, kind of bounce back up again. But that looks really good, NetFry. So as a short potential. Stacy, what's going on? Jay, hello, hello. Fast. Okay, I'll go faster. No, I was kidding. Yeah, let's take a look at Fastenal. 1 sec. Huge move today. Incredible stuff. Okay, yeah, gotta love the earnings runs, right? So, really good push up here. Held on to this volumetric level, retested it, tested the top of the pitchfork. Kind of chopped around a little bit in there. Almost got out of the pitchfork, came back in, and then this type of move right here is very bearish, right? Makes it look like it's going to retest down here, and then earnings come out and gives it a shot to the top. Let's take a look and see how does this look long term. Yeah, so basically almost was this all-time highs for this thing, or recent super highs. So let's go. Let's just look at the chart here on the daily. So this gave you a pretty large range spinning top bar. So just look for again with these type of big gap ups, right? You always want to try the potential or wait to see. So put an alert there of that 69.20 because that's going to be a key level, and then just see how it handles that in the future. Because you could always catch a break on that very potentially. Let's take a look at the 15 orb on this one today. So this would have been tough to trade. Well, actually, if we want to get a little deeper into the 15 orbs, right? I don't like trading off of the orb when you have these big upper and lower shadows, right? But what we did have is a nice inside bar afterward, right? And then from there, right, it started to break to the upside. So that's really kind of like your level, your entry level. So you're at 68.13, then you get a good point all the way to the upside there. So just keep that in mind, guys. When I talk about the 15 orbs, you can use those ranges, but at the same time, you want to look at the price action within the orb and see if it's potentially tradable. So inside bar, Yorikiri bar, break right there, 68.18, right, nice dollar to the upside. So and then it gave you another inside bar with another break to the upside. So good stuff. And that also got through that. You can see this blue line right here. That's a volume profile level. So that kind of broke to the upside. So that's just a look at how to trade that intraday potentially, and then obviously looking pretty bullish if it could break to the upside again. So you also looks like almost a double inside 60 here and then a break to the upside as well. So that was another opportunity to get a little scalp on there. Yeah, so that's fast. And let's see, Mike, what's going on? Amazon Lotto puts if fail plus JPM levels. Yeah, so JPM is going to be an interesting one. That's definitely going to be looked at for tomorrow, for earnings tomorrow. So you just kind of look at key levels with JP Morgan. Let me remove this example of a linear regression channel and take a look at what we got. So big volume levels are down here. Okay, so a real nasty move, right? If a gap down would be to 58, right? But just look at prior support of where this thing might go. Let's take a look at what it's expected to move tomorrow. So it's only expected to move like $2. So whenever I see this like with options and I see a 2-point expected move, and golly, it's really crazy, but like there's not a lot of volume here or implied volatility or volatility caked into this this move. Normally you see like a big pre-earnings volatility of like 100 or something like that. There's nothing into this. So it's only expected to move $2. So usually, I when they say $2, if I think earnings, I look at $4 worst case scenario. So let's go where we're at right now. So 106. Let's see where 110 is at. So 110 is here. So that's like about 112, 113. But you can see that level right there is some key resistance. Right, so it's been tested before. So if we gap up those 4 points, it might blow through that and then eventually start a new uptrend. And if we go down $4, right? So where are we at? 106. So we're down 102-ish. So this is kind of like your next kind of this 100 is going to be another one to test. So those kind of are your levels for JP Morgan. You can see that level used to be resistance here, support. So we'll see how it handles that. So look at the price action around there. If we do gap up, you can see a 15-minute orb potentially in this area. So let's kind of look and see what that would look like here with the 15-minute chart. Where's that level? It looks a little bit high, but okay. So say we gap up to here, right? And here's your first 15-minute bar. Say here at the open, right? Let's say it's real goofy looking like that. Okay, so that is now, look at that. It would be like right like into resistance, right? And then say like the next bar was an inside bar. Then what you would do is you would wait to see what kind of momentum you're getting, right? But if it's looking really weak, you could trade that to the downside there, and then look to get maybe a 50% gap fill or something like that. So that's potential. Then you could also look for a potential reversal down here too. If you gap down, you look at your first 15-minute bar. If it's really strong from there, if this is like a big green hammer, you can just trade it long right off of that, or you just kind of watch the price action and see what it's doing, and you might be able to catch a reversal there as well. So there's that. And then Amazon, I agree. It's just kind of ran out of steam coming up. We were looking to short it the other day. Today even, 60 anchor here. So that was interesting. Give us another one today. So that'll be interesting to watch at the open. So if you what is this, like dark cloud cover or something like that? So you have that, and then you have your inside 60 here, so you could look to trade that possibly to the downside tomorrow. You might get a nice push, down to that mid 1800s. So I'm sorry, did I say mid 18? About 18, the mid 1830s. So it looks pretty interesting. Call Saul, glad we all survived the day. That's right. So can we please look at Lyft, please? And thank you. My pleasure, man. So yeah, today's a good day. We had Walmart swing long, so that Walmart trade was I just love it. Let me just take a look at it one more time. It's like, whoa! So this is our trade of the week in the newsletter, right? So we looked to go long. We had a nice bar here, and then a little consolidation, right? 2 days ago. But it held up really well, and the rest of the market was mostly red. And then we were just looking for a breakout of the cloud, and then we got that in this beautiful follow through today. So that was a lovely trade. But let's take a look at Lyft, which was also in the newsletter as a couple different levels that we looked at. The key levels here was this kind of this shooting star right here. We gapped up, and it couldn't fill the gap. Right, so that kind of gave us an idea. It's like, all right, well, the next day, if it breaks that level to the high, I call that a tail fail, then you have a very potential for filling the gap. And if not, you've got more downside action, very likely, at least a gap fill down here, and potentially testing these other levels. So that one day, right, we basically gaps up based on the close, and then just look at that Marubozu red bar all the way to downside, follow through here, huge follow through today, and then a nice pause day right here. So these pause days are interesting because this actually is a homing pigeon setup, and so because we've got all red bars and a red bar that closed inside this range, so just be careful of a reversal on it. But if that fails, then then we're going down. So because this could be a measured move, pause, and you might even get that bigger move down like into the 50s or something like that. So Lyft is going to be very interesting, and the options I think are still reasonably priced. Yeah, great deals on this one. I mean, decent spreads and all that stuff, and there's some volume coming in. People are having fun trading this, so that's so definitely work your levels on that. But it looks pretty interesting. It's key day today, key inside day. So watch the high and the low of today. Raphael, what's going on, bud? NBev. Appreciate your support, man. Okay, so NBev, wow. So yeah, this is just kind of on the daily candlestick chart here, right? So moved down, then it had this, the deal with Walmart, and then like all the way through the cloud, right? But couldn't hold, right? So it gapped down. A lot of people, I guess like taking profits and all that stuff. So it gapped, right here on the cloud, right? And then couldn't hold it, right? Pause a little bit more. And so now I just see at this point, you can see compared to this green bar, right? It has a lot of this kind of funky, pricey action in here. So, and the volume, look at the volumes, just really, really dying back down to what it used to be. So, big move right there. Probably, half of it was the up and half the people selling, and then a lot of people who maybe were looking to swing it kind of got here, sold out. Maybe to me, my friend, I don't think this move is done yet. So I would look for another choppy bar, and then eventually it might test this gap level, and even possibly halfway through it. As well. So just keep that in mind. But if the deal is good and it gets more positive news and some hype, it might stay up and and work its way kind of back up through that cloud there. Let's just take a look real quick at the volume levels on it. Yeah. So you can see here too. It gave this big push. Right, this is your daily level right here. So it gave you this big push here. Try to get through this volumetric resistance right here and couldn't hold on to it. So you can see there's a lot of kind of free space down there. So to me, it just looks like it might want to drift lower. And also at the same time, it's a pivot at the mid pitchfork level, which usually is an indication for a reversal. So just keep that in mind as well. Jeff C. Hey, no problem. Yeah, my pleasure. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Andrew, taking a break from trade. Lots of exams coming up, and thank you. Awesome, man. Yeah. So I don't know if you have a new semester coming up, but I hope everything's just going great, man. So yeah, just keep up, studying and all that stuff, and you're gonna be great. La Machine Polonaise, great stuff. I subscribe to your news. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Do you have access to historical educational videos? Are these YouTube videos? Okay, yeah, so absolutely. So if you go to my channel here on the @TrueBubblehead, I've got over 150 educational videos and live trading sessions and stuff like that, and I'm hoping to have over 1,000 one day. So so here definitely every night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, New York time, I like to say. It's like Wall Street. We do a video here and we go over, some new technical ideas. I think next couple of weeks I'm going to be talking a lot about price action. But in the private feed, as long as you've, sent your request and all that stuff, to the Trends Positive, feed, right? And you're in, you can go back through there too, and you can see all my trades, and you can look at those and kind of see what I was looking at on the chart. But I also review those trades every day in a video, right, where I talk about what I was looking at, why I traded it, and what happened and all that stuff. And then sometimes I answer questions, like a subscriber will email me or DM me about a question, and I'll do a separate video on that. Yeah, so there's so you can see all that stuff posted in Twitter as well. And then you can even search that feed in Twitter once you're in there as well. You can just click on the the search box and do a little search in there, but you have to like tag @TrendsPositive and then colon and then type in something. So if you look for journal, you'll see all the journal videos will come up. If you just type in video, all the videos will come up, that type of stuff. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. So BTE. Baytex Energy Corp. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice little, nice kind of penny, type stock right here. These are, I don't trade these very often, but, because they get a little bit, you have to put a lot of money down for it to move. But so this is looking kind of interesting. Kind of came down, started basing a little bit here at this, kind of volumetric level right here. So I've been holding that. It had a nice little push to the upside with some increase in volume, and then you can see these fib fan lines. It's kind of like touched here. So just be careful of a a pullback back, kind of this level. So, but if it can hold this fib fan line, it might push it up to the upside and start to work its way to this, kind of 326 volume level as well. So just keep that in mind there. But I do like how the RSI is kind of getting over the 60. MACD is kind of pulling up. So just watch how it handles that 60 level as well. So you might get some follow through on that. And then CCA, MFS California. Nice kind of channel move, to the upside here. So, so far, this is what I was talking about. So I did the, RSI videos this week. See how it hit that 60 level and then came back off of it, continued to move up, came back down, kind of held these 60 levels, came back up again, another push to the upside. So this is working its way up, right, to that, at least 1189. And then you might want to see there's a lot of, kind of volume areas over there. So just kind of see if it holds that and get through it. If not, it might be resistance. You might see a reversal at that point. So just something to keep in mind as well. Let's do a fib here, like that. So just yeah, so just kind of be careful here about some of that resistance area. Nefron, no problem, my pleasure, man. Pritesh, what's going on? Derm Smar. Okay, so Derm. Oh wow, yeah. So there you go. This is looking pretty good too. This is one of those examples of that big gap up. Right now, you do have some declining volume. That's your key level right there, the high. So that was what. That bar there, the high was 1491, right? So that it tried to give a little push through it, and then resisted, right? So who knows what it wants to do at this point? It might want to retest that level there, kind of test the gap. If it doesn't, it gives you a little pivot there. Then it might want to retest those highs again, and hopefully give you an extra breakout or even a place to add on it. But I like the island top here. It's sort of like in this prior gap, So this is like one of those funky ones, but could be interesting, right? Might get some fall through. I did like that volume, but the volume is kind of trailing down a little bit. So just be careful of that. So I might have had some people just coming in, coming out, and then now it's like, oh, where do I go? Maybe I'll go back down to that volume level at $9 or something. So, okay, and then let's take a look at SMAR. Smart Sheet. Let's see how that's doing for us. Good. It's holding this, fib fan level. You're kind of working its way back up. You have that resistance right there at about 40. Right? If you can get over 40, you're basically back in the pitchfork and maybe working its way back up. NetFry, JPM, 2 move is enough to cover your exit. Oh, very good, very good. I hope so. Oh, it's okay, Prayer Kid, man. It's all good. I'm glad you made it, man. Jay, no problem. My pleasure. Raphael, my pleasure. Thank you for all your support. Mike, 150 videos. I know, man. It's like over 160. It's like, but it's fun. It's been a blast. So really enjoying it. I miss Shirley again. Have we seen her? We haven't seen her in a couple days. So I hope she's doing well. If she was holding Disney, she definitely kept doing good. Le Machine Polonaise, thank you and good luck to you. Good luck to you, everybody who's here. It looks like that's all the requests for tonight. So appreciate you joining in. Appreciate everybody's support. Feel free to join the newsletter. It's less than $1 a day, and you get a newsletter every Sunday into your inbox, and lots of great setups for swing ideas and just kind of overall market sentiment to kind of give you that stuff. And then you get access to the that's right, Nefra. You get access to the free Twitter feed too, so you can see like my trades there and all that stuff. So have a great night, and thank you everybody for your support. And just remember, tomorrow's Friday, so enjoy, and remember, risk first before you trade, and be safe so you can continue to trade, right? So Victor, you always pop up right there. So CNC, absolutely. So CNC. Centene, very good. Okay, so it gave you a pivot right here at the this Fibonacci level, right? And so wow, kind of a nasty bar right there. So if you can get some follow through tomorrow, you might even want to retest that 52 level as well. Okay, so but a lot of times it only recovers halfway through the range, so you might just only get a little bit of a push, and then it starts to reverse back up. So just something to keep in mind on that. Let's take a look at your monthly. Yeah. So monthly chart, right? It's still kind of inside range right there. The weekly, you had an inside week right here, and tomorrow, if we even if it just chops around tomorrow and you close, you have got this key reversal bar right here, and you might get follow through again, to the downside, and then that bar is just nasty, right? So it's well below its 50-day. It closed below its 20 moving average. It took out a lot of these ranges right here. So honestly, to me, just looking at this chart, it looks like it would at least want to retest, kind of that 54 level, and then maybe it might consolidate a little bit and then push down again to that 52, and then you got earnings coming up after that. So earnings back in April. So yeah, so just something like that to keep in mind. But well, good stuff, guys. I hope Shirley's having a great time at Disney. So, all right, guys, have a great night, and I will tweet some ideas out, and obviously put some cool stuff out on Twitter tomorrow. So, have a great night, and I will talk to you later.